Hello there, boys and girls. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here with the Noontime-ish, the Friday Noontime-ish, just barely ish even. I think I'm going to move this thing up till 1 o'clock because Gavin Newsom, our governor here in California, speaks at noon, and sometimes it takes the better part of an hour to get us all caught up on what awful things are happening in the state. And sometimes good things, but mostly awful things. Let me fix something here. Tiny adjustment. Sorry about the noise. Stevie Coyle here, webcasting from Mighty Fine Guitars in bucolic Lafayette, California. The heart of the Tri-Cities area, Lafayette, Morinda, and Moraga and Orinda. I didn't try and do that wrong. I really didn't. Let me check and make sure I'm not talking to a slab of glass for no reason. And here we go. Checking, checking, checking. If you're here, do sign in, please, and let me know where you're webbing in from. It's always of interest. It's kind of, it's kind of like getting postcards, and it's cool that way. You know, there's a rumor, just while I'm waiting for some folks to show up here, there's a rumor that the large female vocalist is being escorted into the warm-up room as we speak. This is 12:45 Pacific Daylight Time in California on Friday, November 6th. And that's what I hear. I only know what I hear and read on the Facebooks. Yeah, it looks like things are happening here. Good, good, good. Over here, perhaps you've seen a guitar case hanging out here. You ever watch those goofy? They're goofy, but they're fun. Those unboxing videos that you see on the web where somebody will get something in the mail and they open it and then they play with it. You know, the whatever the gift is, whatever the thing they got for themselves, whatever the cool device is frequently. Those I laughed at first, and then I thought, you know, these are kind of cool. I take enormous vicarious pleasure in watching people unwrap the thing and take it out and check it out for the first time. We've got one of those happening today. And yes, I've got the guitar to show you. Just one guitar today, and this is going to be fairly short just because I know we've all got other things to pay attention to right now. We don't want to miss a particular moment that perhaps some of us have been waiting for 4 years, nearly. This is going to be an unboxing of a very special guitar by a wonderful singer-songwriter, that was owned by a wonderful singer-songwriter named Chuck McCabe. Chuck has gone on. Cancer got him. He's gone on. Wonderful singer-songwriter. And I'm not sure he ever actually played the guitar, but he had the guitar made for him out of The Tree. And we'll be talking about The Tree. If you're not hip to that, there's a bit to talk about, and I'll try and make it fast. And I haven't played this guitar at all yet. It just came in. Some dear friends of mine from the Strawberry Music Festival. Go Strawberrians. I don't know what the symbol is. Brought this in and want to sell it. And it's for sale. And it's made of this mahogany called the tree, which comes from a particular tree, a mutant giant tree in Honduras that was just immense. And it was logged. It was chopped down, but the poor slobs that chopped it down, it fell the wrong way, and it fell down in a gully where they couldn't get to it. So for years and years, better part of a decade or more, I forget, it's all in the book. Oh, in fact, let me show you the book first. This is cool, back in a flash. I say there's a book that these people put together all about this guitar. My goodness, it's heavy. I haven't unboxed this either. I'll stop shouting now. Here it is. And here's a book about Chuck McCabe called McCabe and Me, by Lee Cheney, with additional narrative by Chuck McCabe, God rest him. But this is the book that's of particular interest. It's all about this guitar. And in this fine woodworking magazine from 1970-something? No, 85, from 1985. There's an article all about the tree. This, as I was saying, before I so rudely interrupted myself, this giant mutant Honduran mahogany tree that got chopped down and fell the wrong way, and they couldn't get to it for a long time. And it just laid there at the bottom of the gut. It was so immense. They couldn't get to it. They thought, well, what the hell are we going to do? Build a mill for it at the bottom of this gully, and I think that's what they did. And they started milling the wood and sending it up out of this gully. And it was incredibly figured, beautiful, folded mahogany. And I'll show you lots of pictures of it. Well, here is a little show and tell, boys and girls. Here is Chuck McCabe himself. He was a great fellow. I only had a chance to meet him a couple of times myself, but I heard his music, and he was terrific. Really lovely, lovely guy. Here's the commissioning of the guitar by Breedlove. You know, and I've mentioned Breedlove guitars. If I was going to carry a line of guitars here in Mighty Fine Guitars, and I'm not, but if I was, it would be Breedlove. I think they're hugely underrepresented. I dig them a ton. A little too radical for some folks. And it's one of those things, you like them or you don't. I dig them a ton. They sound, one of the first guitars I really truly fell in love with, besides the one I had at the time 20 odd years ago, was a Breedlove guitar, which happens to be in the shop here as well. I'll show you that some other time. I know today was going to be all about walnut guitars, but this guitar came in. And I'll do walnut guitars next week, I promise. Here's all the documentation on the thing, including the estimate from the folks at Breedlove on how much it would cost with this wood to make this guitar today. On and on and on. Here, you get a little hint of the tree. And I'll show you the guitar in just a second. You won't have to look at these pictures. Here's that article out of the Fine Woodworking magazine, all about the tree. Really comprehensive book that goes along with the guitar. Now let's take a look at the guitar. Get to it, Coyle. Get to it. All right, then. Again, pardon my posterior, but this will take just a moment. Always careful of the right hand, not to break any fingernails. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh. And there's the back. Make sure I got a good shot for you. Not too many reflections. Wowee. And you know, the thing about this guitar is it's almost instantly recognizable as the tree, this very famous tree. But it's famous not only because it's so beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, you can see it. There you go. I'm looking at the picture here. Not only because it's beautiful, but because it sounds great. It's got a remarkable sound to it. Oh my goodness, and a cedar top, I'm quite sure here. Like I said, I haven't looked at this at all. I just wanted you to, yeah. Figured mahogany with bloodwood binding. Yes, indeed. And this was built by Jason Bowerman. Jason, are you online? Do you recognize this one? I'll put your name in the credits when that comes around. Oh, and what have I done with my tuner? There it is. I'm going to get this just right for you. Apologies to those of you with perfect pitch. This is especially painful, I realize. Oh, it's wonderful sounds. Getting over to the D string here and the G string. It's got this kind of warmth to it. I'm not sure if this, I've got to take a look and see. Just like I said, I've done very little research on this myself, so you get my first impressions right out of the gate. Wow, very interesting. I think that's Redwood on the top, but we'll find out. It's remarkable. It does what other tree guitars that I've had through the shop do. It kind of sits right between mahogany and rosewood. It's got some of the snappy warmth and quickness how do you talk about sound? Warmth? Yeah, warmth, not hot, not sparkly and crisp, not crispy. Crispy is not a word. Putting a Y on the end of crisp doesn't make it more crisp. It doesn't adjectivize what is already an adjective. Thank you. Sister Godzilla Marie, you can relax now. Go away. It's got warmth to it. It's got mid-range. It's got breadth. It's got depth. Doesn't have the sizzly sparkle of spruce, but you don't want that in this kind of guitar. It's got plenty. Oh, Jason Bowerman, you built a fabulous guitar here, man. If somebody wouldn't mind, would you tag Jason Bowerman in the thread here, JAYSONBOWERMAN, and see if he's online, see if he gets the tag and pops on here and can tell us more about the guitar. Oh, that's wonderful. It's got, even in the high end, instead of having a real sizzly kind of trumpet sort of sound, where if you had to compare it to a vowel, and that's all we've got with sound is comparisons. If you had to compare it with a vowel sound, it's not an ah or an e. It's not wide and flat in the back of the throat. It's kind of fluty. It's got a bit of an ooh to it. I wonder if you can hear that. Ooh instead of ah, ooh. Lovely action too, which is a nice bonus. When you're shopping for a guitar, probably one of the last considerations to make is what's the action like? Because you can always have that adjusted for a few bucks extra for what you're going to pay on a fine guitar. That's really almost a necessary last step that you'll have to have done elsewhere, typically, or through one of my recommendations of folks that can take care of you in your area. Action, the height of the strings off the fingerboard, that's the last consideration. Fall in love first with the sound and the vibe and the feel. Because that really is something that probably, depending on where you live, you may want to have your action adjusted a couple of times a year. Depending on what your humidity is, the temperature, your playing style, whether or not you travel a lot, whether or not you're in and out of microclimates. That's part of the ongoing maintenance of a guitar, really. I like that crossover, too, between the wound strings and the unwound strings. It's not a radical shift like it can be on a lot of spruce guitars where suddenly you've got wound string, wound string, wound string, wound string. And this string has a vastly different timbre from the other ones because it's the thickest unwound string you have. And it's the first low to high unwound string that you have. Intonates really well too. Low mileage on this guitar, not a scratch on it. It's how many years old? Was it built in 94? Let's take a look at the stats, Coyle. Why don't we do that? Good idea. Oh, and let me get to your comments and questions too. Thank you for tuning in, all you folks that have tuned in. And if you haven't, where the hell are you? Hey there, there's Copperopolis. Online again. Very good. There's a song in Copperopolis somewhere. Copperopolis, Copperopolis. I'll get to work on it. Hey, John Mooney. And Matt Magner. Hey, how are you, Matthew? Very good. Yeah, and Jason Bowerman is an Oregon guy. Yeah. No, thank you, Mary. If you think I give that much, any kind of consideration to what I'm wearing of a particular day, you would be probably incorrect. No, but look at me. How about that? I'm kind of orangey today. Happy Halloween. And thereafter. Halloween at our house lasts like 3 months. Carries us through that other one at the end of the year. Yes, indeed, Michael Ferrucci, the bridge doctor. The thing that's going on with this guitar that gives it that kind of sound and gives more bass to the guitar than what you'd otherwise probably hear is that instead of a big fat X brace going through the bottom here, it's got essentially a stick coming out of the bottom of the guitar midway through the thickness of the guitar, and another stick coming up to the top, and that's what's supporting the lower bout. It's very lightly braced through here, and that bridge doctor that lives right under here is what's supporting the top instead of big X braces and diagonal braces and all that kind of stuff. Remarkable volume. And of course, you get to look at this part right here, which is really, really pretty. Oh, it's a lovely guitar. It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $17,500. Just the wood itself, because of its rarity, its beauty, its desirability, is a $12,000 upgrade these days. And we've got the documentation from Breedlove to verify that. So this guitar is going to live somewhere right in the neighborhood of $17,000. Yikes. And worth every cent. It's a wonderful play. Love it. It's quite wonderful. And a couple of guitars have come through recently. They were so fabulous. They sold instantly, and I hardly had a chance to play it. So if you can wait a day or two before you come in with $17,500, that'd be great. Give me a chance to play it a little bit. Like a lot of Redwood guitars, Redwood-topped guitars, it's a fingerstyle guitar more than it's a strumming guitar. It won't stand up to a lot of bluegrass-style strumming. It won't stand up to a lot of really heavy-duty stuff. Strum's great. It's just it's got a bit of a ceiling on it, the way that Redwood does. It doesn't go and go and go and go on volume and just get louder and louder and louder. There's kind of a threshold at which it plays great. And that width, that spectrum, is kind of the fingerstyle threshold that a lot of fingerstylers play. Mary, am I right? Would you concur with my esteemed, astute opinion on that front? Folks, if you're not hip to Mary Flower, Google her up. Pardon me, Mary, I didn't mean to, Google is a verb nowadays. Google her up. Wonderful fingerstyle and blues gal. Award-winning and very funny as well. Funny counts. Delicious, delicious guitar. Let me check out your comments and questions. Thank you for your forbearance and patience while I had a taste of that guitar. Wonderful. It's a breed love. You can tell the value of most guitars by the number of clasps on the case. True to a point, yeah. And whether or not the top is curved. If you've got a little curvy bit on the top here, it means it's made of more than 3 plies of plywood. And that's what you want. You want to have that top, a flat top case is frequently not as strong because it won't deflect as much impact. And it actually is made of fewer plies. It's always got to be an odd number of plies so that they do that. So a 3-ply case is okay for around the house and maybe around town, getting to the jam session, But if you're going to travel at all or pack your guitar in a space where other things are going to be packed, you probably want a 5-ply case. It has lots of latches. More latches helps. Boy, that's the saddest thing of all. I've seen it many times and heard horror stories. You get to a festival and somebody says, "Oh man, the airlines sheared one of my hasps off my case," because those hasps come open. The latches come open. The little doodad sticks out, and another piece of luggage comes on by and just shears it right off, and that's a drag. That's a big old drag. But technology these days is better. There's little twisty doodads you can get that will prevent that from happening. There's metal hasps that are made of something other than pot metal that a lot of these hasps are made out of. So yes, lots of options these days that there weren't back in the olden days, kids, when I was your age. A fingerboard width on this, Mary, is 1 3/4. It's 1 3/4, so it's very comfy for fingerstyle. Really nice. Mary, do you like a wider fingerboard? Do you like 1 7/8, 1 13/16, something like that? Or are you kind of 1 3/4? Or do you like 1 11/16? Everybody's got a right to their own stupid opinion. So, if you prefer 1 11/16, that's fine too. Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. The current question is, what size fingerboard do you like? Do you like 1 3/4 or 1 11/16 typically, or even wider than 1 3/4? I like them wide. I would show you again, perhaps on another day, the Franklin guitar that I have in here is 1 13/16 across there. It's really wide, except it's out on a sleepover, which is great. And perhaps the fellow will take it home because it had some fantastic Brazilian on it, and it sounded great. It had that real wide fingerboard that I like. Even though I'm a thumb over guy, I've got these kind of prehensile thumbs that can get over there and get a thumb over kind of bass note. On most guitars, I don't have to worry too much about that, so I'm lucky on that front. But other folks have to be. But if you kind of came up on classical guitars in particular and used to thumb behind, the very polite sort of fingerstyle way to do things, or if your hand just doesn't reach around to get your thumb up on those bass notes, then a wide fingerboard will often suit you a little better because there's more real estate over there, and you're less likely, fingering one note, to have your finger or your palm pudge lop over and kill off another string. So sometimes a wide fingerboard is better than a skinny fingerboard, even though you may be accustomed to a skinny fingerboard. Something to consider. Hey, Josh, there you go. Less than classical, more than 1 3/4. Yeah, kind of me too. All other things being equal, 1 3/4 is kind of minimum for me. I've gotten used to it just because so many guitars are that. But my Perlman, ooh, the precious, is a little wider than that, and I like it. Yes, Dale, isn't it a nice guitar? Isn't it wonderful? And it comes with full, more than full documentation. It comes with, oh, sorry for shouting. Sorry, kids. It comes with a book this thick of documentation and notices and magazine articles and pop-up sections. Very sexy photographs of various parts of the guitar. And it is wonderful. Yeah, I got to show you the inlay on the neck. Oh, Jason Bowerman just did a bang-up job on this. Jason is out building on his own nowadays and building beautiful guitars. Had a couple come through, Bowerman guitars. And boy, he has built some fantastic Weizenborn-style guitars. At some point, Jason, I'm going to need to talk to you about whether or not you're building Weizenborns anymore, because those were great. So here it is. I wonder if you can see, if I can keep it in the light. The fingerboard markings are just wonderful. kind of clouds going across a moon. Here's some crescent moons. There's a full moon with clouds going across, and the declining moon. It's a whole lunar cycle on your fingerboard right here. And the trim all around the guitar, the binding, is bloodwood, which I think combines beautifully with almost any other kind of wood. It's this reddish browny, deep maroon, hints of purple kind of wood. And boy, oh boy, this guitar is just so gorgeous. Man, flabbergasting. The human beings can make these things. It really is. And there again, I caught myself noting that the crossover from the wound G string to the unwound B string was not as severe as it is on almost any other guitar, a spruce-topped guitar. And I wonder if the bridge doctor in there has something to do with that. Tons of sustain. There's Redwood and then there's Redwood. There's Redwood that sounds great, and there's Redwood that sounds more like, patio furniture, decking. Good Redwood, really fine-grained, dense, so that it more closely resembles spruce but is not spruce, can sound fantastic, and this one does. So, yes, 17.5 is the asking on it, but it's worth 17.5. Now, I'll give you just one more shot of this. My goodness, look at that. That's really kind of preposterous. That's just showing off, is what that is. The Tree. You can look it up. Plug it into Google. As soon as you're done Googling Mary Flower, sorry, Mary, take a look at The Tree. The Tree, put it in quotation marks, Mahogany, and you'll find the whole story, and it's kind of fascinating. And there's one fella, Jay Howlett, that goes around the country scooping up portions of the tree wherever he finds it. Maybe it was an executive desk. Maybe it was a countertop somewhere. The fella has done more cross-country trips, and he's kind of the tree guy. So, Jay, thank you. And I'm sure he put together this deal because he used to play with Chuck a bunch all those years ago. Let me check and see if you have any comments or questions, and then we'll toddle along and see what happens today, kids. Wow, what a day. Yes, is Teresa Taduri on? Teresa! Hey! Hey, Teresa Taduri, happy birthday to you, dear. Happy birthday to Teresa. Folks, when you're done Googling Mary Flower and the tree, Teresa, capital T, small e, small r, small e, small s, small a, Tuduri, Tudury. Teresa Taduri. Never heard anything quite like her. She's just that fantastic. Guitar player, yes, but vocalist and songwriter and raconteur and entertainer, just an astonishment. Really and truly. Here's my gift to you for today. We all may get a big-ass gift later on today. And maybe we already have, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. But along with the other gifts you can give yourself today, Google up Mary Flower and Teresa Taduri. No H in Teresa. T-E-R-E-S-A. Taduri. And I didn't stand when I said that, and I didn't say it afterwards. So I've got to sit down. I got spelled down. Nobody beats Coyle in a spell down. I won the school spelling bee when I was in first grade. It's my superpower, and my big old nerd quotient is very high on the spelling front. Hey, Patty's wishing you a happy birthday as well, Teresa. Very good. And Michael Ferrucci, breed-love tops can be made much lighter to the benefit of the bridge doctor, resulting in awesome response and uniquely characteristic tone. Like I said, you either love it or you don't. I happen to love it. You could look up bridge doctor as well. It's a little tough to describe, but essentially it's a stick coming out of the bottom of the guitar, midway through the thickness, that supports another stick going up to the top, and that's what braces the top instead of a big X brace through there. And it does end up giving really distinctive tone that for fingerstyle, I love it. It's so articulate. It's so clear without being overstated, and especially when you've got a lovely redwood top here combined with the tree, which has its own distinctive sound, which again, I would have to say in summation, Your Honor, I would have to say live somewhere midway between Mahogany and Rosewood. So there. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, neighbor's mom. Nice to see you. Very good. Mike Stevens, nice to see you as well. Another Pacific Northwesterner, wonderful musician. Greg Duncan, how are you, man? Great artist and musician as well. Wow, it's a cast of characters here. I tell you what, Joe Broido, one of my favorite teachers in high school, is on here with the best show I ever did at Salinas High. We did this production of Alice in Wonderland that was just unbelievable. And with thanks to you, Joe Broido, and that whole class has all thanked you profusely for years about that. But it was that influential, and it was that good, and it has stuck with us, and it's a tremendously valued memory and experience. Thank you, Joe Broido. Well, there we go. Oh yes, cardboard boxes. Why, yes. I ship. If any of the stuff on the site, and more stuff is going up soon because I took a whole bunch of new pictures, I ship. So let me know if you'd like to try out one of the guitars here for the cost of shipping both directions. You can try out anything in here. I'll ship it to you. You get however much time you need, a couple of days, 3 days. If it's love, keep it and I cash the check. And if not, ship it back. I tear up the check and you just pay shipping both ways. These boxes, these cardboard boxes are real good for that. Thank you, Mark David Hamilton. And I think we're good there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Lots to get back to. And I noticed that at least my picture here is getting kind of waving in and out in terms of focus and whatnot. But what happens is after I shut down here, I send the file that's on my phone back up, and it replaces moment for moment the file that's up there now that may have all kinds of Wi-Fi artifacts in it and all that. So you can look at a prettier copy. It only gets so pretty, kids. But I'll finish up with one more little tune on the mighty Breedlove, and class will be dismissed. And on that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next Friday. Let's move it up till 1 o'clock, shall we? This is, rather than having something that's supposed to be at noon, showing up at 12:45, let's just call it the Friday 1 o'clock webcast. Okay? Okay. See you then. Thanks for tuning in, kids.